So the fire began on June 23rd, late in the day, almost 4 p.m. at 3200 Range Road. And in the Kern River Valley, it's a partnership with fire agencies responding to wildland fires. Kern County Fire Department, Bureau of Land Management, U.S. Forest Service, we're all sending firefighters, fire engines, bulldozers, hand crews to the scene. In addition, Calif was sending air tankers. Our closest air tankers are out of Porterville, which is a short flight to the Kern River Valley. So we were all responding, and we were operating in the highest mode of response possible. Again, this was late June, hot, dry summer day, low humidity, high winds, so everything was sent to this fire by all the agencies. The Kern County Fire Department arrived on scene first, and our initial attack fire captain reported fire about 2 acres and rapidly spreading. The fire was spotting up the hill, and we immediately began suppression efforts. Again, Forest Service, BLM firefighters, and fire engines were arriving on scene, the hand crews, the bulldozers, air tankers, helicopter, everything that we have in our firefighting arsenal was arriving on scene, and our firefighters immediately went to work. Now, where this fire started, it is in the area what we call Cooks Peak. It's right next to the Kern Valley High School. And we often have fires on Cooks Peak. We've had several fires there over the years, and usually the fire burns up to the top of the peak where it flattens out, and our air tankers, our bulldozers, our firefighters get up there, and we're able to contain the fire at a couple hundred acres. And this is a fire that we fought several times before, and a lot of the firefighters that were on scene of the Erskine Fire, they've been on the Cooks Peak fire. And that was an expectation that we would be able to contain that fire, as we have with several other Cooks Peak fires. Unfortunately, again, 5 years of drought, a large crop of grass on the ground, the trees are dead, the vegetation's dead, it was hot, it was dry, and it was very windy, and the fire exploded. And within minutes, the fire was over 200 or 300 acres. It was burning across the mountaintop and dropping into the communities on the east side of Lake Isabella. And we began receiving reports that structures were on fire. Remember, we had a fairly large response of air tankers and aircraft, and they were reporting the fire continued to spot out in front of us. Over 2,500 homes were threatened within hours of the fire starting, and as I said, over 30,000 acres were burned almost 2 weeks, driven by that hot wind that blows up the canyon and then blows out towards the desert. If you talk to veteran firefighters, they will tell you some of the fire behavior that they observed that afternoon, that first night, even into the second day, was nothing like they ever witnessed before. And these are veteran firefighters who have fought fire, wildland fires, not only in Kern County and the state of California, but all over the United States. Because it's a team effort, we go everywhere to suppress these fires. And that fire burned out into the desert, out into Kelso Valley. And typically our desert fuels are different than the fuels we have in the mountain areas. They're thinner, and you're able to contain wildland fires in the desert a lot easier. But that fire roared out of the mountains down into the desert floor and was burning with as much intensity as it was in the mountains. So the Erskine Fire was definitely a fire that was driven by all of these factors. The fire continued to burn and actually made a turn south, and burning in the Kelso Valley area, and eventually it burned into the Paiute Mountain areas, and it burned into the Paiute fire burn scar where we were able to put a lot of resources up on top and keep the fire out of Erskine Creek and finally contain the fire. Over 2,500 firefighters were on scene. And again, let me stress, it's a team effort in California to fight a wildland fire. So we had Kern County firefighters, we had Bureau of Land Management, U.S. Forest Service, Calif, and local government fire departments responded for structure protection. And these fire departments came, these fire engines, these firefighters came from throughout the state of California.